Hello everyone and welcome to the Mylio Photos coffee break. My name is Angela Andrew and today we're going to be talking about backup strategies for protecting your family photos. Today's topic I think is going to be very helpful for a lot of people because what we're going to be doing is making sure you have a system in place to make sure your stuff is secure and that you have peace of mind as you're going through your daily tasks. Before we jump in, I do want to let you know of some of the other things we have going on for you. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have live Q&A. That's at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. And on Friday, we also have coffee breaks, which are these topics that you're coming to today. Next week, we're going to be talking about connecting your photos to family history research. So we've got some really cool functionality built into Mylio Photos to help you work with those family history media, and I'll show you how to work with those things next week. So let's go ahead and jump into today's topic, and we're going to discuss talking about strategies to protect your family photos. So let's go ahead and dive in. So what would you do if you lost one of your devices today? If you had a hard drive crash, your computer died, your phone got lost, what would you lose? Some people are going to lose childhood photos, recent family memories, and those other important everyday moments. Most people have thousands of irreplaceable memories that live in a single device, and that is a single point of failure. We're going to show you how you can fix that today and have that peace of mind. So you're going to learn how to sync your stuff across devices, use offsite backups, and automate this process so you can set it and forget it. So it's not a matter of if, but when. Photo loss is going to happen. Hard drives will fail. Things get stolen or lost, and natural disasters happen. And the solution is to have a smart and simple automated process that backs up and protects your photos. Mylio Photos makes that very, very simple. And that's what we're going to walk through today is that process. So strategy number one is syncing and redundancy. So redundancy is your safety net. You want to have your things in more than one place because if you don't, you have a single point of failure. If your photos, videos, those precious memories are tied to a single location, if your phone is stolen and that's the only place they live, those pictures are gone forever. And syncing aims to change that. So your stuff lives in more than one place, and redundancy really changes the game. So another thing to be aware of is a lot of people who have their smartphones think that if they're backing up to Google Photos or backing up to iCloud, that their stuff is safe. They don't need to do anything else. But here's where the fallacy is that's still only one location. Upload is not instantaneous. It definitely depends on your internet speed, so your newest photos might not be in the cloud yet. If you're using a free plan to back your stuff up, your stuff may be compressed or not even backed up. A lot of people think that, oh, I turn on iCloud, therefore my stuff is backed up. But if they're not paying for additional storage, chances are their stuff is not safe. And I found it really interesting that only 1 in 3 iPhone users and 1 in 4 Android users pay for additional cloud storage in either Google Photos or iCloud. So that means that most people out there have a false sense of security thinking their stuff is in the cloud and backed up and protected, when in reality, if they lost their phone, all of their recent memories are gone. So limited storage or partial storage doesn't cover everything. And the bottom line is the cloud is still just one place. With Mylio Photos, we really lean into the 3-2-1 backup scenario. We have 3 copies of your data on at least 2 different types of media, with one of them off-site. So this is still one place. The cloud is an awesome, awesome tool, but it shouldn't be the only tool in your toolbox. So what we're going to do here is talk about protecting your photos with vaults. And this is specific to Mylio Photos. So what is a vault in Mylio? It is a place where you store your entire photo library. So complete copy of your library with all of your media and all of your metadata at full resolution is stored on that one device. Typically, this is a computer, an external storage drive, or cloud service that has enough space to hold everything. So when it protects everything, this is going to be including all of your scanned family photos. If you're working on family history, it's going to be all of your modern photos, things from digital cameras and smartphones. It's going to have your entirety of memories in one place. And then because Mylio Photos does sync and replication, you have the ability to have multiple copies of that for safety. That's why we recommend that people have at least 2 vaults, because redundancy equals protection. If one of your vaults fails, you have another one that still has all of your photos. So what I like to recommend for people who are just starting out with Mylio Photos, when you set up that first vault, ideally you're going to buy 2 of that same drive, plug them both in, designate them both as vaults, let Mylio copy your entire library to both of them, because chances are at one point one of those devices is going to fail. You're going to have your other vault sitting there. It has everything. All you have to do is go out and buy a new drive, plug it in, Mylio does the work and syncs everything for you. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that Mylio can do to help protect your media. All right, so a couple of things to consider when backing up things from your cell phone. So Mylio Photos, in order to sync media from your cell phone, whether this is Android or iOS, the application has to be on and running in the foreground. What that means is you need to open Mylio Photos frequently on your phone, and syncing works best with Wi-Fi and a full battery, or plug it into power. If you're doing this regularly, let's say, every couple of days you're opening up Mylio on your phone, you're just flipping through some pictures, maybe tagging a couple things, that typically gives Mylio a chance to log anything new. If you haven't synced for a while, you're probably going to want to plug your phone into power, leave Mylio open and running. When you don't need to use your phone, just go ahead and set it down, let it run, because Mylio will stay open as long as it has power. But if it's just sitting there eating on battery, as soon as it hits about 50% of battery, it's going to go ahead and just close to protect your app, protect the phone. But if you have it plugged into power, it will continue running and give you a better chance of getting everything in sync. So you do have to give time for everything to sync. If you are an iPhone user and you also have a Mac, you also have the option to add Apple Photos on your computer. This gives Mylio a second place to pull those photos from. So if you have iCloud Photo Library enabled, meaning your phone and your Mac both have Apple Photos, those two talk to each other directly, that means Mylio can pull pictures from either source. So in order to get in the pictures from your phone, it doesn't necessarily have to have your iPhone on and running if Mylio can also pull from Apple Photos on your Mac. Now, this does take a little bit longer. Mylio is not as fast pulling it from Apple Photos on the Mac as it is from the phone, but it is one more level of making sure that those iPhone photos get pulled into Mylio and backed up. But your best practice here when using sync on a mobile phone to bring in those pictures is to open your phone every couple of days at least, have the Mylio Photos app open and running, and let everything sync up. And that's going to be your best line of protection to make sure all of those precious pictures get into Mylio and into your regular sync and backup rotation. All right, so next up we have strategy number 2, which is offsite storage. And this is your disaster preparedness plan. I know it's kind of a scary picture to put up on the screen, but I live in California and this is a reality that we face every year. We had some really horrendous fires happen just a couple of months ago. And the last thing I want is for you to be scared that you're going to lose all of your pictures because you weren't home and didn't have a chance to grab your laptop, your hard drive, or, maybe you had to get out before you had to have a chance to get anything. Fires, theft, floods, those types of things, they do happen. And everything you have stored locally can all be lost at once. And that is a really scary thing to think that could happen. The chances of it are pretty low, but it does happen. And we see it on the news every single day. And that is why offsite storage is your disaster protection. And there's several ways to do this. I'm going to walk you through how to do it with Mylio Photos specifically, but you can have cloud storage that backs up everything on your computer to something like Backblaze. And that is another form of offsite disaster protection. So having your files, the most important things, also stored offsite, basically not at the same place where you typically have everything, is going to be your best line of defense against disaster. So let's look at some of the options here. The first one we have is Mylio Drive Plus. And this is relatively new with Mylio Photos, and this offers you the option to add on a cloud-based protection vault. You can store all of your full resolution files, photos, videos, and documents. It's safe, it's encrypted, and it works automatically with Mylio Photos. It's ideal for disaster recovery. So Mylio Drive Plus is an add-on. It doesn't automatically happen with Mylio Photos. You might have already seen Mylio Drive on your computer, and you might even have it enabled right here. Mylio Drive only syncs the optimized versions of your files. So there's the smaller versions, and it's meant to facilitate syncing between devices and setting up new devices. It is not backup. If you want to have original quality files backed up, you have to add on Mylio Drive Plus with secure cloud storage, and that gives you the option to put everything in the cloud and make the cloud a vault. Let me show you really quick what that looks like in my system here. We are in my Mylio Photos. I have the sync panel open here on the right, and you can see here it says Mylio Drive Plus. And underneath that we have 3 green bars for thumbnails, optimized, and originals. And that means that everything is in Mylio Drive Plus. If it only says Mylio Drive and it doesn't have the little plus, all you're going to see is green here for thumbnails and optimized. It does not hold originals unless you have the plus. So if you're looking for a very easy, encrypted, seamless way to back up your stuff off-site, I highly recommend Mylio Drive Plus. To set that up, what you're going to do is go over to your dashboard. And here underneath devices, up at the top of the screen, if you've never set up Mylio Drive at all, it'll say add Mylio Drive. And during that process, it'll ask you if you want to also add Mylio Drive Plus. If you've enabled Mylio Drive before, you'll have a button up here that says add Mylio Drive Plus. Either way, you can go ahead and do that. It'll walk you through the process to go ahead and sign up for that additional service. And like I said, it is seamless, it is very easy, and I highly recommend it. All right, some other options here is you can bring your own cloud or use another offsite vault option. So for those of you who don't want to sign up for Mylio Drive Plus, you can bring your own cloud. Mylio Photos works with Microsoft OneDrive, Google Drive, and any S3 compatible storage. So that's going to be things like Wasabi, Amazon AWS, Backblaze B2, I think iDrive, E2. There's many out there. So you can bring your own cloud if you want to use another storage to save those full quality files offsite. Another option, if you don't want to use the cloud, is to have another external drive connected to a computer at a friend or family member's house, or if you have an office that you work at and you're able to do so, have Mylio on that machine, plug in a drive there, and have that be another offsite vault. That is another way to go ahead and make that happen, and it is perfectly reasonable. So whatever method you choose, having a copy of your library somewhere that is not your main copy gives you that protection to prepare for that worst case scenario. I hope you'll never need it, but if you do, this is one less thing you have to worry about. All right, so talking a bit more about vaults, some of the best practices that I recommend is to maintain always 2 vaults for redundancy. You never want to have all your stuff in just one place. Make sure you have at least 2. You want to make sure that you keep one vault connected locally all the time, if at all possible, and that keeps things fast and accessible. So as you're browsing your library, you want to pull up full resolution files. Having at least one vault connected means those things are going to happen much, much faster. I also recommend having at least one vault off-site for that disaster protection. And my ideal setup is 2 local vaults with 1 off-site. So 2 local vaults, the reason I suggest that is your off-site protection, well, that's great for disaster recovery. If your hard drive dies at home and you have to rebuild from a cloud location, that can be a really long process because internet speeds can really vary, and downloading a large library can take a lot of time. Everything's there, it will get down eventually, but if you have a hard drive that fails at home and you have another one that has everything on it sitting there right next to it, you can continue working while Mylio syncs your brand new drive. It's a much faster and easier way if you have a local issue with one of your drives rather than having to try to rebuild from the cloud. So the ideal setup for most people is going to be whatever viewing devices you have, your phone, your iPhone, Android, your computer, maybe a tablet, and then you're gonna have at least 2 vaults, which is gonna be 2 probably external drives, and then you're gonna have something like Mylio Drive Plus for that offsite protection. I also suggest regularly monitoring the sync status in the dashboard and the sync panel. So let me show you what you need to look for. I'm gonna start here in my all photos, and I'm gonna just close this stuff up so we can kind of start fresh. You're gonna go to the info button here on the right, and you're gonna go to this tab here called sync. Now up at the top, it's only showing me the stats for one image. Go ahead and click on library, and that's gonna show you the stats for everything. So as I look down my list, I can see exactly what devices are connected and which devices have all the media they're supposed to have. So these little orange numbers, this means that this device wants something. Something is missing from one of these devices. That's something I can attend to and take a look into later. But I can look down here, my Mylio Drive Plus has all of my thumbnails. It is missing one optimized file, but it has all of my originals. That's the one I'm really concerned about, is all of the originals. Same with my Mylio Vault here, it is missing one original, so that's something I might want to look into. You just want to take a look down this list and see what's going on with your devices. That's going to give you an overview of where things are, so you know that things are backed up and secure. Another thing you can look at is if you go over here on the left to this little speedometer icon, the dashboard. This is going to show you all of your devices. So you click on devices, and again, you can scroll down this list and get an overview of what's happening. So here on my Mac, it's saying it's sending 42 files. You can click on this little question mark and it tells you what that icon means. And it's sending 42 files to one of my other devices. And I can look down here and go, oh, my iPad, which is grayed out and offline, needs those 42 files. So this gives you an idea of what needed to happen, what devices either need to be plugged in or turned on so things stay in sync. So just keep an eye on that as you go through and you're using Mylio Photos so you can be sure and have the peace of mind to know that your stuff is being backed up. Cloud Vaults will always show as connected with a stable internet connection. So as long as you're on the internet, you should be able to see that, like for instance, your Mylio Drive Plus, that shows as connected. My Google Drive shows as connected. If there's data being transferred, you'll see a little icon here change and it'll show you the speeds at which things are moving. All right, and then your physically connected vaults should be connected as much as possible. So I know there are some people who have vaults that they rotate out, maybe leave one in an outbuilding on their property, that's their offsite protection, or they put one in the closet and they pull another one out and they swap them out. That's okay, but the best practice is to have your vaults connected as often as possible to make sure they stay as up to date as possible. So with that, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about automation and just how Mylio Photos makes this possible for you. So once it's set up, Mylio Photos does the rest. The beauty of this is you don't have to sit there and drag and drop things from one device to the other. Syncing is automatic, and you can take a look at what's happening with the dashboard and the sync panel. So just to kind of wrap up here today, your photo safety plan is first to sync your devices, second to set up your vaults, and third, let Mylio Photos do the automation. So your to-do list for today is 1, open up Mylio Photos on your main device, review your device sync settings, set up or check on your vaults, and open Mylio Photos on your mobile devices. Give those devices a chance to sync and catch up. Make sure all of your mobile photos are safely backed up in Mylio Photos, and then you can relax. Everything is protected, and you can rest comfortably knowing that your stuff, regardless of what happens, whether you have a hard drive crash or a natural disaster happens, this is one thing you don't have to worry about. So if you follow those steps, you are in a really good place. So with that, I want to go ahead and open up the floor to questions. And I see that we've had a few things pop up in the chat. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So let's see here. First up, we have from Carol. How do you set up Mylio with Apple Photos? So Carol, what you would do is, first of all, I would suggest connecting it on your phone. So you're going to go to the App Store and download the Mylio Photos app onto your phone, log into your account, and that's going to automatically start syncing things from Apple Photos on your phone. On your computer, what you're going to do is go up to this little plus button in the upper right to add media. And you're going to go here to add media for photos for Mac OS. And I'm going to go ahead and click allow. Yep. And you can see here I've already added it. But if you've never added it before, you'll be able to choose Apple Photos, select it, and that'll go ahead and connect it to Apple Photos on your computer. All right. Next question here. Also from Carol, I have Mylio Drive Plus, but I have Mylio Drive Plus, but I don't see the plus or option to add it. What do I do? So Carol, you want to probably go into your account page at Mylio. Make sure that you have Mylio Drive Plus, not just Mylio Drive. Mylio Drive comes with your Mylio Photos Plus subscription. Mylio Drive Plus is an additional subscription add-on. So go to account.mylio.com. You can see what it is you're paying for. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to support, and they can take a look at your account too. Make sure that you're able to take advantage of everything that you're paying for. All right. Sheldon says, do you suggest a PC as a local drive? Sheldon, you absolutely can do that. If your computer has a ton of storage space and you want to designate your computer as a vault, you can absolutely do that. I think most people don't have hard drives big enough to do that, but if you have a desktop computer and that computer has a ton of storage space, or maybe your library is on the smaller side, you can absolutely have that be one of your local vaults. All right. And yeah, I think I got the idea there. All right. Gary's saying, how much do the two versions cost? So Mylio Photos Plus is, we've just recently had a price change. So it depends on whether you've been with us for a while or if you're a new user signing up. Right now, our Mylio Photos Plus plans start at $20 a month. And if you go to our website, you can learn more about that. If you're looking for Mylio Drive Plus to add on the additional cloud storage, I believe that starts off at, Lori, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's $12 a month for 2 terabytes.
Yes, I think it's $12.95.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. John says, cloud solutions won't work for me. Rural location, internet cap. I feel your pain. Vaults replicate all files, but what about using a third-party product to save before and after snapshots? If I screw something up, Mylio will just replicate my mistake. I hear some Mylio users use carbon copy cloner. Absolutely, John. That is a great way to do that. In addition to what I have set up in Mylio Photos, let me just tell you what I have for myself personally. I'm on a Mac, and Apple has Time Machine, which is a built-in backup utility. I have yet another drive on my computer that is designated for Time Machine, and everything on my computer gets replicated there as well. And these are timed backups, and they're versioned. So anytime something changes on my computer, those changes get saved, and it's a new snapshot of what happened. There's utilities for Windows that can do this as well. And then I also have Backblaze for my computer backup. And this is, again, another versioned snapshot of everything that changes. I think it saves 30 days worth of changes for me. And that is also in the cloud. So that's another option that you can go ahead and add on. That doesn't address what John's going with there. So with rural internet cap, if you've got a large property and you have an outbuilding that's temperature controlled, you might want to either set up a computer in that outbuilding or at least have an additional vault that you can take to that outbuilding, have there, and then maybe once a month swap it out with one of the ones in your home office. I know people who do that who have really limited internet, and that is one way to go ahead and keep that offsite. So yeah, so for some people, cloud is not an option. And any way that you can have one of your vaults just not sitting on your desk in the main building where you usually work is another alternative for a cloud or for a offsite backup. All right, let's see. Do we have any other questions?
Angela, I put a link to the Mylio Secure Cloud, and just to correct the price, it's actually $11.95 a month for 2 terabytes.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
There it is.
Appreciate that. All right, and so Carol says, show me again how I get to the third list you show on your screen that shows library. Okay, so if I'm in, like, say, the All Photos view, and I go up here to this little the little info icon in the upper right, Up across the top here, we have 4 tabs. It's probably going to default here to info. If you just click on sync, that is going to give you this list of all your devices. So hopefully, Carol, that gives you what you need. Did you have any other questions?
Angela, did you see her question about high def TIFF scans?
I did not. Where did I miss that
Okay,
one?
it's
Angela, you
Yes.
what
Oh, there
I'm
it is.
what I'm looking for is the third screen that you have that shows, the library and the whole thing, and not just the devices,
The
but
library and the whole
because
thing. So under, was that under dashboard here?
yeah, the third one over. This one.
This one here?
Yes.
So that is the sync panel.
Oh,
That's what I just showed you. It's the same thing as looking at it here.
Yeah, because mine only shows devices, and then I have 2 devices, and then like the Mylio drive has the little orange thing, so I know that it needs something, but I don't
Okay.
know how it's getting it because like I said, I have Mylio Plus Drive, but it's not showing that I have that.
Okay. So if you have Mylio Drive Plus, but it's not showing that in your application, I do recommend reaching out to support because there's something that didn't get connected with your purchase. As far as the way you're seeing it here, if you click on this little options here, not that one, it's, where is it? There's like an expanded view and then there's the collapsed view, and I'm trying to remember where that setting is. But you're not going to, if you don't have all these devices, you're not going to see all of these same options. I just happen to have a lot of devices.
Okay.
And then let's see, we have another question here about high def TIFFs. I have a high def TIFF scan, but that I want to add metadata to, but I don't want to keep them in Mylio due to computer storage. Instead, I want to keep JPEGs on my computer. What is the best practice? So Carol, with Mylio Photos, Mylio automatically optimizes the files so you can keep the TIFFs on external storage and still be able to view them on your computer. So Mylio will take care of that for you. You don't need to have 2 different copies. All right, and then another question here from Michael. I have 66 originals that refuse to sync to any of my 3 vaults. How can I get them to sync? So Michael, that is a great question. What I would do is go down here to the Learn panel, click on that, and then go here to the question mark. And what we're going to do is type in sync. And here's one here, troubleshooting unable to sync photos between devices. Click on that. And this article is going to give you step-by-step instructions on how to address those 66 that refuse to sync. So follow these steps. If that resolves the problem, great. If it does not, then what I would do is go up here to the help menu and choose contact Mylio support. And that way our support team can take a look at your logs and see what's going on, why those refuse to sync. I would also make sure to check if you can go to the ones that are refusing to sync. Let's say go down here, I can see on my vault, it needs 1 file. I can click on this and say show files to sync. Click on that file, and then you can do a little bit of sleuthing to figure out where that file is. So if I click on this and go to storage and go down here to the original file locations, I can see which drives have it and which ones I need to turn on. So in this case, my iPhone and my iPad are both grayed out, and all I need to do is turn those on, and that should go ahead and force those things to sync. All right, any other questions?
like you got everyone.
All right. Well, I hope this was a helpful session and that you guys learned a little bit more about how to keep things backed up, making sure that everything is working smoothly in your library so you can rest assured that those memories are protected. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me in the community.mylio.com, and I'll be happy to answer any other follow-up questions that you might have. But with that, I want to wish you guys a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you hopefully next week at one of the live Q&As on Tuesday or Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. So thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.